This is not a usual race review episode. Out of the usual trio, there's only me. Kunal is on a train to Dijon. Sundaram is working on something. And our Mr. Producer, who you normally don't see, is going to be on camera today, and we're going to be talking about Formula One. Sarang, this is my first time being live on a video with you. You've done one with Kunal, which I
Yep.
have absolutely no clue about because I was covering rugby and I have no
I,
clue
I'm
what you
gonna,
folks
I'm
did.
gonna, I'm gonna, dock some more penalty points for you for not listening to that episode.
I've been sleeping, my friend. I have been in the land of the gods. I've been resting for 12, 15 hours. I need hibernation, genuinely.
But yeah, I think I'm just playing the reserve driver here, right? Because the show must go on, and I
A
have,
reserve driver who's always present, but today has to step inside the car.
oh,
Yeah, that's,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Or
I
more, it's more of
mean,
the team principal actually getting into the car for once. Because that's what it's always like, folks. Because Sarang is the one who's always advising us, giving feedback, telling us we should move in this direction, we can talk about that much. Or when we're yapping along for 40 minutes, he's the one who tells us that, hey guys, it's 40 minutes, don't go on for longer. So the team principal is driving the car today. And I'm so happy. I still get to open the show, which is fun. I've always done that. I love that. But it's so cool to be here with you, Sarang, because we
you,
we have spoken about Formula One a lot, but on
yes,
camera for the first time.
yeah. I mean, we just playing along as it comes. But yeah, the idea is to have the show go on. I know there's a lot of subscribers, there's a lot of followers, people in our chats and WhatsApp just following up. Hey man, where's the damn show? But the point is the show must go on, and
Yeah.
if it needs for someone to sub in and get you guys going on the show itself, then more than happy to do it. Which brings me to a very big question, Somil.
Go for it.
How many penalty points have the hosts raked up since the
Hmm.
last for this season, in fact, since the last whatever, no, this season.
I must have the most. And I've accumulated all of them in the last couple of weeks. I have missed a race preview. I have missed the Canadian GP review. I missed the British GP itself. That's why Kunal was sitting instead of me in the Hindi commentary box for fan
You
code.
mean the Austrian GP? British GP is next week. Man, you need to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
come back
yeah,
to the
yeah.
India time zone.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Austrian GP. That was a good race. It was a good. I mean, I
Yeah.
got to see highlights of it. Of course,
Hmm.
was unable to watch the race, but then I spoke to F1 Stats Guru about it as well. We were
Hmm.
watching the F1 movie a few days ago together, and at that point we were just like, dude, we have a race weekend this weekend, and we're all not feeling it because the F1 movie was coming around. I was doing rugby at the same time. F1 Stats Guru organized an amazing movie watch along as well in Liverpool. So we had so many people come in for that as well. But we've all forgotten for a second that there was Austria. And then
Hmm.
Sarang, as always, right? Austria delivers. So
Yeah.
I think we can
Before
forget
we,
about
bef
penalty points. And
no, I'm not letting
I'm
you
just trying
guys
to
forget
dodge
about
it.
it.
I'm just trying to dodge it.
No, so your tally is up with Kunal now. Both of you are at 6 penalty points.
You've been
And
tracking.
Sundaram, yep, and Sundaram on 4. Because you guys get 2 each for missing a show. So this is the third one that Kunal's missed. You missed 3 before. And this is the second one I think Sundaram's missed. So he is still on 4.
No,
So
no, come on. Come on. You were
and
tracking. Man.
but that's the job. That's the job. Okay. It comes with apart from just writing contracts for you guys, it's gonna be about
You
talking
must have a
penalty
couple
points
of
for you.
penalty points too, then, for sure. Like, we're not the
No,
only
I
ones.
have I have I have quite a few. I have quite a few.
How many?
I think I missed Canada for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Uh, and then I mean we do almost 3 shows every race weekend, and I'm pretty sure that for the last 4 race weekends, I've missed at least one each. So that brings mine up to 8. So, but I'm not the one. I'm not the one. Whose performance really matters now.
It does. Now
Wow.
it
Okay,
does.
we've
Now it
we've
does,
got
my
some
friend.
comments. Sundaram's not on the podcast, but he's chatting to us on the on the show. Have you ever seen Sarang and Flavio on the same? I wish on
Yeah.
my life if I were to see Flavio in the same room. Maybe we'd do a little bit of a time pass on that front, right?
Or maybe you could both bring an axe and see who can swing an axe better. I know who's winning that one, but
Okay, on to the actual show. Okay. My most favorite line that I'm not going to quote, it's Lando's redemption arc this race weekend.
you said it. For context, everyone, Sarang has officially banned the R word on the show. Any time we come close to it, we get a voice in our ear. It's his voice saying, "No, not that word. Not again. Don't go there. Don't go there. We dock
Oh,
penalty
no, no,
points if you go there."
you're just being nice. It's just like these words are banned, and then you're distracted from what you want to talk about for a brief second. But yes, Lando's redemption arc. What a start to the race, and how he kept the car ahead.
Yeah.
In fact, it brought on a slew of memes. In fact, Christian Horner's comment about it, how they're, romancing the exhaust pipes, and, tell me a little, why do you think the tires are not greening as much, or they're not degrading as much in both the McLaren cars? How are they able to keep that up?
They're just much better. It all comes down to airflow at the end. Now, if I would be able to tell you exactly what Venturi tunnels they're using or where the air is diverted, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be working for a Formula One team. They'd pay me big bucks, and I wouldn't be contractually allowed to have a Formula One podcast. But what we can tell is that the McLaren is more consistent across multiple circuits in terms of
Hmm.
performance. A, and B, it manages heat much better. Now, what does that mean? The Red Bull, as we all know, it's a very sensitive car. And Max Verstappen also likes it to be very sensitive. As Alex Albon once described it, it's like having a mouse with sensitivity put to 100%. So one tiny movement in the car will absolutely move to opposite ends. Now that's great. That's great if you can put it in a window. That's not great if the temperatures are hot and you try to slide around a lot, because that means that you're chewing more of the rubber. Rubber will be on the tire for longer if it moves around lesser and gives you more grip. The McLaren are just able to be faster without chewing a lot more tires, which means their car is more consistent along the corners. And that happens for longer durations. Now, their problem in life is teams sort of trying to be close to them in qualifying. But when you're at medium to high speed circuits, which is what Austria is and what
Hmm.
Silverstone will also end up being, they just don't have to worry about it because their long run race pace, especially if it's hot, is just so good that other teams will start to lose a tenth, 2 tenths, sometimes 3 tenths over the course of a lap. And when you multiply that over a 70 lap or a 50 lap race, you might end up with a deficit of around 30 odd seconds, which, by the way, is exactly what we saw in preseason testing in Bahrain in the race simulations. And people were like, rubbish, Ferrari can't be 30 seconds behind McLaren. Well, they are.
Hmm.
In qualifying, they were closer, but when you multiply that over a longer race, that's why they're very good. And to add to that, Sarang, drivers who are very confident and drivers who are well embedded within the values of the team and the behavior of the car, and that's all you need at the end.
So before, I think for the quali show, we made a prediction on who we think is going to be on the podium. Now you can dock another penalty point for me for not remembering what you guys had said. But
Oh, I said Oscar Piastri would win from a Lando pole
yeah.
position. I was
Hmm.
wrong. None
Hmm.
of us, by the way, predicted a Verstappen win or a podium. No, yeah, I think none of us had a Verstappen podium
No.
because the title of that episode was "This is the worst place for Red Bull to be," and we were right. We called it. We told you so. But yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone had Max. I was wrong though.
I was half hoping for that DRS train. And I was a little surprised that Charles pulled a typical Lando at the race start, you know, but I don't think it was anything to do with him. I think Oscar's just that good that
Yeah.
he just, full sent it in the first corner, and then they had a great race going. In fact, for most of the race, the battle between the McLarens, and hopefully for the rest of the season as well, is something that's going to put on a great show for us.
Oh, Sundaram predicted a Verstappen pole to win. So he's,
Oh,
yeah,
he did.
yeah. You should be docked penalty points for that, my friend. Badly. No, but you're right about that. The McLaren drivers entertaining us.
Hmm.
And this is where I'd really like to bring in what McLaren said during the race to Oscar Piastri. Because
Hmm.
I've been thinking about it a lot for the last few days, and I still don't know if you can really place a limit to how much you can battle. Now, logically, it makes sense. It makes sense for McLaren to say, right, we are allowing you to race, which they are. It's their cars, and the drivers are contractually obliged to drive the way McLaren want to because they are employees of the team. So McLaren are letting them race and are doing a very good job with that. But then I also agree with DC's viewpoint, DC being David Coulthard, that once you let them race, there's no point at which you can say you can't race. Like, where's the limit? Where's the limit? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one lockup and the race is done? So what if that lockup comes in the first lap and you genuinely, as Oscar Piastri, have more pace to fight? So just because you've locked up once, does that mean you're not allowed to attack anymore? Uh, Clearly, McLaren have a clearer understanding of papaya rules than us, Sarang, but it's still a very tight rope they're walking successfully, dare I say.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's going to make for great entertainment. It's going to make for great racing, as long as we don't see what happened in Canada with
Canada, yeah.
Lando. Yeah,
I think even
it
that's
was
great
still
entertainment.
it is, but I mean, you've got to feel for Lando at that point. Uh, I mean, the guy is honest and humble on on post stage shows, but that's where it is. But what the other thing that I was really hoping for would really work out in this race is the upgrade from Ferrari. But
Hmm.
I think Charles's podium was just a little bit of a silent celebration. I mean, it didn't really. I think all the hype went on to, and the commentary also went on to the first lap incident between Kimi and Max, and then the memes that have come out after that. No way to confirm what is the conversation happening on that front. But yeah, I think, and I'm a little miffed about Hamilton being that happy about his P4 finish. And I
Hmm.
know he can extract more out of the car. What do you think?
I think I think expectations change with time. That's all I'm going to say. And it's a true reflection of where he is at this moment in time.
I think
Wow.
I'm gonna be like Sundaram in a few years. Sundaram's waiting for mission 33, and I'll be waiting for title number 8.
You know, with Sundaram, I think it's still more possible because Fernando Alonso absolutely schooled Gabriel Bortoleto. He really
He
did.
did that. He did.
And we sometimes wonder, has Fernando still got it? Because he's in
Mm,
a team and in a car where you don't often see his performances out in the media.
mm,
P7, P8, who's really talking about that? But when
mm,
the drivers like Liam Lawson and Gabriel Bortoleto come to the media and tell you that Fernando has been on their tail or has been just pulling away slightly in the case of Bortoleto every single lap, and they are struggling to keep up with his intensity and his consistency, that still tells you the guy has got it. Like, even though you might not see it, he has still got it. And that to me was highlight of the Austrian GP in totality. The fact that Alonso is pestering Lawson, and Lawson thought Alonso was faster, and
mm,
Alonso keeping Bortoleto behind, and Bortoleto
mm.
genuinely not being able to have an answer to his driver manager. And I'm wondering now, Sarang, have we ever seen a driver race their manager in Formula One? We've seen drivers race their brothers. We've
Yeah.
seen drivers race their team bosses, I'm pretty certain, because back in the day, I'm pretty sure a few teams were owned by a few drivers and then they had someone else racing alongside
Mm.
with them. But drivers
No,
racing their
I
manager,
don't.
that's the first time.
I don't think, and I hope at some point the FI does not bring out a clause that says, "Oh no, you can't be a race manager and a racer." Some stuff about conflict of interest and whatnot. But it's good to see. I mean, good on Sauber too. Okay,
Yeah.
despite them being backmarkers at some point, I think that's where Alonso got the advantage, right? And despite that, finishing first points for Gabriel of the season. They've had a pretty decent momentum, Team Sauber, this season, and I think
Yeah.
it's only positive for us to see something great coming up for when they're Audi next year. With the reg changes and whatnot.
It's interesting you say that because Jonathan Wheatley, after the race, told us, not by us, I mean the media generally. He told everyone that
Hmm.
it's just one of those weird moments in time where all the
Mm,
correlations are working. All the designs
mm,
that they have already been working on in the wind tunnel have finally started to relate with what you see on track. And it's a shame it's happening at this point. It's not my words, it's his words. He just said, I wish
mm.
we could have had it earlier in the year. Which then begs another question. If the correlations are working now, will they work early next year? And there's another caveat to that: engine. Right now, they've got a very stable platform in Ferrari. Next year,
Mm.
they're going to be starting out from scratch with an Audi engine, which they will be the only team using. I'm not too sure. Don't get your hopes up too early. That's what I'm going to say.
But you know what? You never know how it goes. I mean,
Oh, you
uh,
never know.
at every point in time, in like, the reg changes, especially when it comes to the engines, I think Mercedes has been a uh, clear winner of sorts. I don't
Yeah,
know. You can correct me if I'm wrong with that, right?
always.
They've been able to pull out, maximize the most out of smaller range engines and give us that kind of a performance on the track. Uh, who knows? Maybe Audi has the same philosophy, the same kind of uh, you know, kind of mechanical structure in the engine itself to get us that. I'm
We
just going
should
to
ask,
bring up,
before you say that, we should
yeah.
ask our friend Neil Jani when we're all back in the Indian Racing League, because Neil is the official engine development driver for Audi,
Mm,
and he's going to be in India for the Indian Racing League. So, all of you
mm,
folks, we've got legends competing in our country very soon, just in a month or two. So, make sure you do follow the Indian Racing League, where Sarang and I actually met, and even F1 Stats Guru for the first time. So, we've got some good
mm.
drivers coming to India. Make sure you
Yeah,
stay tuned with
I
that.
don't think I'm going back this
You're not
year.
going back. We're going to
Oh
drag
no,
you
but
back, my
all right.
friend. We're going to drag you back. We must find a way.
Uh, well, that being said, however, I want to bring up a couple of nice comments from a while back when we just started. Manny says, "Thank goodness Lando bounced back. Hoping the battle lasts to the last lap of the last race. We do too, my friend." And I think
Mm.
Soumil, you're in agreement with me on this. Right? That's going to make for a great season this year, especially with the McLarens going at it the way they are right now.
Oh, for sure. For
Contrary
sure.
to that, we have Podnor. Excuse me if I've mispronounced that, but who says they're back for now, but only time will tell. I
Which is
think,
also a very valid comment.
yeah.
Which is a very valid comment. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Why is Lando Norris always coming back or always losing it? Like, what's it all about? Uh, Oscar's also having bad results. It's not like he isn't,
Hmm.
but he isn't coming back every single time. Now, who says they're coming back? It's not the media, it's a label attached by the person themselves. And that is just the way they communicate to themselves that, hey, I'm back now, or hey, I've lost it. So just we've actually taken a very small thing, which is how a person communicates with themselves, to add so many layers on top to make it seem like Lando is losing it, or
Mm,
is consistently coming back, or whatever it is. But the point is, he's always around, and this time it does seem better because the new update to the car actually lets him drive more comfortably. We will now find out the actual impact of that in Silverstone, because this is a race where for the last 2 years Lando Norris could and should have won. Now
yeah.
we shall really find out if he's genuinely got that confidence, and where exactly is Oscar with that. Because the last few races, Oscar's just been maximizing whatever he possibly can. He's not been number one.
Mm.
So where does it all go now?
I
That's the big
think,
question.
I mean, and Sundaram and I were having a chat about this earlier. I think there's something about a driver's home race. You
Yeah,
know, just being there at home, having the crowd support you through and through. I think there's something in the feeling they have, especially with a package like McLaren at the moment, where
for
I
sure.
think they might just find that extra tenth or whatever they need to put the car out in front. But since I've talked about Sundaram a fair bit now, I want to bring up a couple of stats that he's put out,
Let's go.
and so he talks about. No, I'm just going to refer to my phone here. Norris has converted 6 pole positions into wins, which is
Hmm.
more than any non-world champion on the current grid. So Lewis Hamilton is at 61, Max at 33, and Fernando Alonso at 14. they're the only ones who have more pole to win conversions among active drivers, right?
But Max has the number one conversion record. I think it's at something like 77% or something. Last I calculated,
Hmm.
it's phenomenal. Like you, if Max is on pole, you can't beat him. But with Lando, a lot of it is confidence driven.
Hmm.
And when he does have pole, that very clearly means he's confident. And then in that
Hmm.
case, if he can just get a good launch, he genuinely is unstoppable. Like Singapore last year, it was a very good race that he managed. Sure, he made an error, but very good. Abu Dhabi last
Yeah.
year, I remember.
Yeah.
Australia to some extent this year too. He has that. He has that ability.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Red Bull Ring is the first venue where Norris has scored over 100 career points. Right now, he has 108 points at this circuit. Hey, all stats are courtesy of F1 Stats, bro. I'm just
All
reading
of
them
them,
off my
always.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some very interesting, features there for Lando himself. So I think it's. I mean, coming back to our main point, I think it's good momentum for him to carry on to Silverstone, especially it being a home race, right?
Yeah.
So, so I mean, Sundaram, if you're watching, you can still comment a couple of stats down there. But yeah, I think that's where we stand. All in all, how would you rate the Austrian GP, even though you've just watched the highlights?
Oh, phenomenal. For the stories that have come out of this race, phenomenal.
Mhm.
Sauber's double points, Lawson finally getting a good result because the good performances have always been there. So this is
Mm.
a headline to attach on top of that. Esteban Ocon getting a point, which is absolutely phenomenal. I really respect what they're building over there at Haas, and they're under a lot of pressure because the teams around them are massively overperforming given where they were at the start of the year. And just a story about the last four. I think there's only 26 points between Alpine in P10 and the team in P6. Who's beyond Williams? Is that Racing Bulls in P6? Suppose it must be.
It must
Uh,
be.
let me just double check that. But yeah, only 26 points between P6 and P10 in the overall result, which is crazy. Formula One has never been this close. I remember a point in time where the last two teams were guaranteed to be bankrupt within the next couple of years. And then there were a couple who were struggling.
Hmm.
And like your Toro Rossos who would occasionally get into a top 10 or something like that. Then there was your Force India and a Williams, who were 30 odd seconds off from the top three, who were then a further 15, 20 odd seconds off from a Mercedes. So this is unbelievable.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say this is phenomenal.
No, I'm
That's,
not.
by the way,
No, I'm
viewers
not.
and
I'm very
listeners,
aware
that's
now.
another
I'm very
that's
aware
another
now.
word that Soumil has been banned from using.
Yeah.
All right. Before we close it, we asked and Sundaram has delivered. Sundaram's put out another stat in the comments. Hamilton has now gone 13 races without a podium finish, the longest streak of his F1 career.
13 without a podium.
Oh,
Yeah, actually 14 because
he's
Abu Dhabi 2025
okay.
that we
I
just
thought you were
saw.
going. I thought
He
you were
got
going, going back to 21.
No, he got taken out in the last lap of the Abu Dhabi GP. So
Mm,
that podium is also gone now, unfortunately.
mm.
It's also gone for what's his name now? Joshua Pierce, but it's
I'm not going to bring up the
you,
F1 movie
no, you're
topic.
not.
I think we're on the opposite sides of that spectrum.
Why? Do you like the movie? Because I don't.
I really like the movie.
You
I
like
I know I yeah. I know you don't go to watch it as a purist, and there are obvious things that, as someone who's so invested in the sport, is not going to like, but it delivers on paisa vasool entertainment. You cannot deny that.
Sarang? Have you not watched the latest Mission Impossible or just Top Gun, which comes from the same director and
Well,
producer, by the way?
yeah, yeah.
You tell me, man. You tell me.
No, I mean, I like the movie. That's all I'm saying. I'm
Good.
not having this discourse. I think we've spoken enough about the movie.
I think the movie needs
You
some
so
positivity. So it's good to see you be the patron for it.
yeah, no, I think just generally, and this is something Kunal and I were discussing back when Sundaram and you were not on the show, is that anything that draws more attention to the sport we love is perfect in my books. Um, Also, this is possibly for India the closest we get to an F1 experience, especially with the sound
Yeah.
design and the way the visuals are just done. You know, there are some scenes in where there are there's no music. There's just pure adrenaline of the car going around the Yas Marina circuit, right?
I wanted more of that with the engine
Yeah,
sound.
yeah,
Like honestly, keep the same plot. If it's a bland movie, it's a bland movie, but at least bring us closer to Formula One with IMAX cameras and that level of sound production quality. Like, give us more gyrocam. Hell, we barely got any gyrocam. Like 2 seconds of Las Vegas, and I was so annoyed. I was like, give me more gyrocam. We don't get to watch enough of it. It's oh well, but
yeah.
we're not going to get to close that early, Sarang, because Sundaram has
Yeah, I
listened to
know.
us
I've been
and he
reading
has
that
given us a
only.
few really interesting stats.
Okay, so couple of things before we close the show. On Saturday, Carlos Sainz recorded three consecutive Q1 exits for the first time in his career. Oh man, I got a feel for the guy. The Williams team were having such a great season so far. Um, and every time I've seen them race this season, barring the last at Canada also they were DNFs, right? For Williams.
I do not recollect. Albon went into the grass and had a bit of a trip over there.
Yeah,
Sainz didn't do very well, as far as I remember. No, he
yeah.
was struggling. He was, I think, 17th, 18th, something at a point.
Speaking of Sainz's start to the Austrian GP, it was eerily similar to what happened in the F1 movie when Brad Pitt went in the car for the first time. Eerily similar. Yo, so his car did not start. It was stuck. Then it started. And then he was the
Oh
last to join them back
yeah,
after the formation lap.
yeah, but I don't count that.
Yeah,
Brad
I
Pitt is
know.
a cheat. Should be
Hey.
banned for life.
uh, hey, coming back to the stat. Okay, I'm going to bring that up one more time. Uh, yeah, Alex Albon recorded three consecutive DNS for the first time in his career. Wow.
I don't believe
If
that. That's honestly crazy.
I mean, I just think it's tough luck, man. I just
Yeah.
think mechanical failures are just tough luck. Um, and finally, Verstappen now trails Oscar Piastri by 61 points in the championship. No driver in F1 history has overturned such a deficit to win
Phenomenal.
the title.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening.
But I mean, come on, if you were to really talk about someone who could do it, I don't know. I know it's possibly not this season. I think it's Max Verstappen who can,
Yeah,
in theory, make a turn like that.
but
I mean, he's just. I mean, the last couple of races, he's just not felt the car that well. But
yeah. No, I hear you. You have a point.
yeah,
Yeah, if anyone in the world across all of Formula One's history can do it, it's probably Max. But
hmm
those McLarens are so good.
here's an interesting comment. I want you to. It's a contrarian comment, and I love having this uh on the chat.
Contrarian. I love
Yeah,
the word. It's a very Naval Ravikant word to use. I love that.
I think you guys are overreacting about Lando being back because he did well in the first race. But he should have won in Silverstone last year, but got screwed over by strategy.
Yeah. I think Oscar got more screwed over by strategy that year. He was leading when they boxed him in, and it didn't work out for him very well. They kept him out for too long. But you have a fair point. Of course, we have to react. Now, whether
hmm
it's over or under depends on you and how you view the situation, which we all totally respect. It's just how you view the sport. But it might seem like over because of how much fluctuation Lando has. And just to go back to my point, it feels like overreacting because Lando dramatizes. I mean, the way Lando communicates to himself, it might seem dramatic to some. And he says, "Oh,
hmm
I'm back this week. I'm totally not feeling it, or I don't know how to drive." The fact that he uses those labels is what allows us as the media to build upon it further. It's just his words. With Oscar, you don't say he's back or he's not back. It's just, oh, he didn't have a good race or he had a good race. So I think he's there. And we see the same thing with Oscar all the time. Lando is there. And knowing him, knowing the kind of person he is and the kind of driver he is, confidence and momentum are the two most important things for him. So if he has it, we must celebrate it because as Formula One fans, we need battles. And a confident Lando Norris means a good championship. So we have to react to it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, and this is what I love about the sport. You can have such contrarian viewpoints about
Exactly.
every little thing, and I mean, you, me, Sundaram, Kunal, everyone can just go on and on about it, right? And it's still going to make for very it's just going to make for a good hang, for the lack of a better word, and it's still going to keep us interested in watching the next race and the race after that and the season after
Absolutely.
that, right? On that note, I think it's time to close. But since you brought us into the live stream, maybe it's time you close the show too. Somit, let's go.
Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I want to close with one thing, which is my favorite driver in Formula One today at Lords playing cricket. It's Carlos Sainz. He was there with Alex Albon. And as Indian fans, sure, not all of us might love cricket as much. I'm okay. I'm ambivalent to it. It's all right. But the fact that they were at Lords just to promote the British Grand Prix is phenomenal, and that is such a cool thing. So this week, if you are Formula One fans, which you are because you're here, just keep an eye out on all the social media handles of all the teams because 90% of them, not 90, but yeah, 80% of them are, in fact, 70% of them, to be fair, 7 out of 10,
Make up your mind.
7 out of 10, 70% of teams are based out in the UK and they will do crazy activations to promote their home race. So
Yeah.
every single day is going to be a lot of fun for us heading up to the British GP. And it's also going to be a lot of fun on the Inside Line F1 podcast's YouTube page too.
Hold on to that thought. Since you did talk about a good day for Indian fans in the sport, I
Yeah.
think just a notable mention to Kush
Kush.
Maini
Yes.
for securing that test drive at Berlin in the Formula E seat with Mahindra Racing. I think it's a fantastic news coming out. I think it came out today itself, right? What
Yeah.
a thing to celebrate.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's important. Now, we all know it's super important for a driver to keep their doors open. And the kind of situation that Kush is in, third season in Formula 2, progressing forward, learning so much as a driver, understanding the broader horizon of motorsport, this is a very important move. And he's been good here. He topped free practice when they had the rookie free practice in Jeddah in February. And we had good drivers over there. We had Danny Kvyat, we had Jamie Chadwick, and a few others there too. So Kush is good in a car. He's good in a Formula E machine. Does that mean he's
Yeah.
moving to Formula E next year? Not exactly.
Who
He's
knows? Only
evaluating
time
his
will tell.
options.
Yeah.
Exactly. He has to evaluate his options. If you were there, you'd do the same thing. But this does mean that he's opening his horizon and being very aware of what's on the table. And that is a good thing for all of us.
And we've got some Kush Mani was on the podcast a couple of months back. So there's more to his journey in Formula One. And if you guys want to know more about it, you should just scroll back down and listen to that episode in full details. I think that's a great place to start knowing
And there's
what's
an
happening
upcoming
there.
one too. There's an
Yeah.
upcoming one too that's also being produced. We recorded that at the JK house, the home of Gautam Singhania. Very cool episode. We got his dad to speak as well, which rarely ever happens. But that's being produced right now. So stay patient, everyone. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I think let me just close it. Thank you everyone for watching and listening in. This is us signing off, and we'll be back on Thursday for a preview of the Silverstone race this weekend. Bye bye.